everybody. Welcome to Cinema Regulars, where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name, and they don't ask us what movie we're seeing, they ask us how many. We are joined today by Isaac as usual, myself as usual, but Merrick, my brother,
Hello.
just like the last one was, but he was here for all three movies today, so he will be sticking with us throughout the entirety of the show. And then Taylor will also be joining us at the end for our final movie.
Awesome. So, hello, Mo.
Hello.
Good to see. Alright, so today we will be looking at The Beekeeper, new Jason Statham action movie. The Iron Claw, we finally got around to seeing that. And finishing off with Night Swim. Taylor will be joining us for that, the new Blumhouse movie. I know January is typically the dead month for movie theaters. Anything put out in January is typically, they're not putting a lot of stakes in it, let's just say. But, I think we still have quite a bit to talk about here. So without further ado, let's get right on into The Beekeeper. So, brief synopsis quick of The Beekeeper. Actually, you know what we should do? We should just read off what it says the movie's about.
Like on Google?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably a good idea.
To A, keep it short, and B, keep it accurate. Beekeeper is described as one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after it's revealed he's a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. So essentially, he's an agent who works outside the government chain of command, and he takes out threats where politically or legally they don't have the ability to take care of them inside the house, so he works outside the system and outside the law to correct things on his own behalf.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that worried me straight out the gate was the big title that showed up during the intro sequence that said "written by Kurt Wimmer."
Yeah.
Which keen observers would recognize as the person who wrote and screenwrote for the horrible Children of the Corn movie that came out earlier last year. So I've been very wary about seeing his name pop up. After doing some research, he also seemed to be behind the movie Sphere and the most recent Expendables movie, which we didn't get to go see, sadly. But I think personally, if he keeps putting out stuff like The Beekeeper, he might earn some credit back to his name in my eyes, because The Beekeeper wasn't that bad, actually. I expected something pretty good going in after seeing Kurt Wimmer's name, and I'm like, oh, I hope this isn't terrible, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I actually quite liked I actually quite like the action. I mean, it's a Jason Statham action movie, so like it's not nothing new that you've seen, but it was still very well done.
Yeah, Jason Statham, Isaac, as you have said and will continue to say every time he's in a movie, Jason Statham plays the exact same character in every single movie.
But he plays it well.
Right, but so not really able to commend his acting very much in this movie, but I will say Josh Hutcherson's acting as the villain here, he was definitely the brightest part of this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm so here for this like return of Josh Hutcherson to like acting, because like I was a
Yeah.
big fan of him as a kid. I mean, he was in the Journey to the Center of the Earth movies. He was in Zathura,
Zathura,
like
Mhm.
RV. That
Bridge to
kid from RV,
Terabithia.
that's what his name was in my household, was the kid from RV.
Bridge to
Yeah.
Terabithia was one that I watched a lot as a kid. Like he was a good kid actor, and I'm here to see what he's doing now. You know, we got him in FNAF, and he was good in FNAF actually, like really good.
It was, yeah. But yeah, I think this interesting, like, young crypto hipster kind of scammer bad guy that he was this time
Yeah,
around was an interesting angle for him to take, because he's usually like a good kid or a good guy in his roles.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's actually kind of cool because I saw this in an article after watching the movie. He has stated that since playing this role, he wants to play more villains.
He did a pretty
Cool.
decent job. Like, he looked like I don't
I
know,
wanted to
like
punch him in the face.
yeah, he slid into the role fairly well.
Yeah.
But enough about him.
Yeah.
Josh Hutcherson and Jason Statham, the main characters of this movie. Um, other than that, a lot of the side characters are pretty irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't
the
really care for the side characters.
yeah, the FBI lady and her partner did not contribute a whole lot. I mean,
No, they
she
did
did more
not.
than her partner did, but like I was super disappointed in her role, because as irrelevant as it was, really, she was pretty emotionless the whole time, even though her mom, like, just died. Like, she walks in on her dead mother with a gun in her hand and a bullet in her head, and she seems like she couldn't care less.
Like
Like,
Yeah.
like,
they
as from an acting perspective, like, there was
well,
no emotion
he
there.
here's my thing, like, and it's this. I think they were shooting for like hardened or driven or whatever, but they totally like didn't hit it at all.
Well, even if you're hardened and driven, I would expect you to cry if your mother shot herself in the head and you found her like that.
Yeah.
She was completely flat and and emotionless the whole movie.
Yeah, that character did not have a lot of depth or a lot of screen time. Honestly, really, the
I
only things that
think
were
I
really
think she got too much screen time. They kept cutting back to the FBI half of it, like, every 15 minutes. I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't care. And most of the
yeah,
scenes
Yeah.
were irrelevant, really. Like, you could cut
Mhm.
half of the FBI agents' scenes out of the movie, and it would still go cohesively. You wouldn't be like, wait a minute,
yeah.
when did they explain that?
The biggest things of this movie really is the action and like Josh Hutcherson, and
Mm.
that's really about it. Like it was there was a lot that was a little kind of unsatisfying with this movie. Like I would have liked more on the beekeepers themselves, like what that
Right.
organization actually was. Also, the fact that he's a retired beekeeper and that the new one was just insane.
I think they dropped the ball on the current active beekeeper, because they mentioned a single line like, "Oh, she should have been deactivated and fired years ago," and I'm like, okay, why didn't you? Why
Yeah,
wasn't
like,
she?
but that's
She did not strike as anyone who could possibly earn that kind of position or responsibility.
like my thing is like like I wanted so much more on the organization themselves because like I want to know like what is like the vetting process or like like how do new beekeepers get like how do they get activated or I guess is that would be what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say.
they didn't give you any explanation really as to any background or information on the beekeeper organization themselves. It was kind of disappointing, but I mean, it's the action movie. It's not a lore
It
movie.
Yeah, they're not trying to do that. I would like absolutely watch the hell out of a an origin of the organization movie. Like I would totally watch that.
Yeah.
But other than that, like a couple kills were really good in the movie, especially like the
Yeah.
effects were really well done as well. Like the part where he just
I
like
I would beg to differ on some of those. I think what they did practically, like cutting that guy's fingers off, looked pretty
yeah,
good.
that's what I was about to bring up.
But I'm
Mhm.
all like the CGI deaths, like as cool as the elevator scene was, where he like tied a bunch of people to the elevator shaft and then dropped it, and then a bunch of guys flew down the shaft, and then one guy got split in half by the door.
Yeah.
As cool and impactful as that was, like the CGI on that body was dreadful.
Fair.
But thankfully, with this kind of movie, it was not heavily reliant on CGI at all. There was only one or two instances of it that was really noticeably bad. And the action in this movie was hit or miss. But
Mhm.
when it hit pretty hard, and when it missed, it didn't really miss by much.
Yeah,
So
that's a fair
hmm
assessment.
This is the first movie I've seen with Jason Statham in it,
hmm.
Oh,
so I
really?
don't. Yeah.
Nice.
So
So what did you think? What were your impressions then, if that's the case?
um, I mean, it was pretty good. Um, I might look into watching some of the other Jason Statham movies.
Yeah, one of the first ones I ever saw was the Transporter movies because that's like the ones that were like everyone knows him from. Like
Mhm.
those that was his big solo thing. And those were pretty good. I actually quite like them.
Was in the Meg movies, Merrick. So
Yeah.
that'd probably be as silly as those movies are. That'd probably be where you would start.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably a good place to start on that. Yeah.
The Big Shark movie.
The Big Shark movie, yeah. But he plays the same guy with the same accent every single time. Like
Yes.
they don't create a character; they create Jason Statham and just have him do stuff.
Yeah, they put Jason Statham in the movie. Like that's what they do. You're gonna play it yourself.
They built the character around Jason Statham.
Yeah.
What would the character do in this situation?
Oh,
Let's ask Jason.
never mind. I have seen one movie with Jason Statham in it, Romeo
What?
What's
and
that?
Juliet.
Oh yeah, he was in that. He was in Romeo and Juliet. I forgot about that. I forgot he was in that.
Well, Merrick, believe it or not, the other Jason Statham movies are going to be vastly different from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I'm aware, but yeah, I looked up what movies he was in. I was scrolling through it. I saw Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah,
As who?
Tybalt.
Uh, yeah.
As Tybalt? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Tybalt.
I had to
Oh,
watch
okay.
that in class freshman year.
We
Why?
all had to watch that in class. Glad you liked it, Merrick. As
hmm
you start watching more action movies, you'll be seeing Jason Statham's name pop up a lot. Fast and Furious movies, but you and I
Yeah,
both know that you and I are both never going to watch any of those. Yeah, I think. All right, I think if no one else has anything more they'd like to add about the Beekeeper, we can roll right into the rankings here.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull up my rankings because I did give this one a ranking already.
Eric, would you like to go first?
sure. I gave this movie a 6 out of 10.
Wow. Yeah,
Nice.
I was also planning on giving this movie a 6 out of 10. I felt it was lacking in a lot of parts, but I think it did have the flavor of originality. Like it had its own kind of, it had its own vibe that kind of set it apart from different action movies. So I think there was enough there to make it stand out a bit more.
I mean, honestly, making a movie about a government organization that exists outside of the government in this day and age, kind of based.
Jason Statham goes on a one-man rampage to take down the Hunter Biden stand-in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I do
But
have to
yeah,
say you are right though. Josh Hutcherson did do a perfect job of playing Hunter Biden in this movie. Like he did.
can you be in this room for the
What?
podcast, please?
Sorry, what?
You keep moving like further away from the mic.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Right.
Well,
Anyway, my for me, I think I'm gonna have to give this movie also a 6 out of 10.
hey,
It was it was fun. It was all right, but I mean it wasn't anything too over the top. It
yeah.
was
I was expecting a little bit more,
yeah,
you
same
know,
here.
but it was serviceable and decent. Don't regret it in any way.
I'm sad they cut one of my favorite lines from the trailer out of the movie.
Oh, they did, yeah, they did.
They cut the honey. It's flammable as fuck. Who knew? Like I love it.
Yeah, they cut that guy out of the movie. That guy was not
Yeah,
in the movie.
I thought he was gonna be in the movie so much
Yeah.
more.
Because they said that they're at some point they said they're calling in some guy. It's like we have people coming. I'm like, oh, it's that guy from. He's gonna come in for the trailer because this is the part, and then the guy just does not show up. He's in the trailer. I hope he got paid for the trailer because he's not getting paid for the movie.
He was in the
Yeah.
movie for like one singular scene. He was the detective at that gas station, and that was it.
Wow. All right. Moving on to the Iron Claw.
Oh yeah. Before I even give a synopsis for this, I love this movie. It was absolutely. I'm gonna say that right out the gate.
Right out
But
the gate. Right out the
yeah,
gate.
right. But the Iron Claw is the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers, who make history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. And through tragedy and triumph, under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, the brothers seek larger than life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. Uh, this movie. Now, I'm not a huge wrestling guy. Like, I grew up in a house where people liked wrestling. Like, they only really watched like WrestleMania, and that was it. You know.
Fair.
But like this movie was I was expecting it to be a wrestling movie.
Yeah, just like a
I,
documentary of their lives about wrestling.
but it was so much more than that. This was so good. Mm.
Um, I've said multiple times now since seeing it that this was probably the most I've ever cried in a movie theater.
Mm.
This was unbelievably tragic and sad, and none of us had any prior knowledge of what the family went through. We just saw the trailer. The trailer didn't give away anything of the sort like
I
that.
I didn't even know what the movie was gonna be about.
Yeah, that's right. You just tagged along with us for the day just because you could.
Yeah. I came
Yeah.
along mainly because I wanted to see Beekeeper, and then
We were just seeing Iron Claw the same day, and Isaac was your ride home, so you had to stay.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
But
this movie is probably the best portrayal of like real connected brotherhood that I have ever seen on the big screen. Like
yeah,
Mhm.
like they
and
had such a good bond.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, they did. As the oldest brother in my household, this movie really hit hard for me specifically and my family because my family's really my brothers and I are really tight like that.
Mhm.
Just seeing the tragedies unfold in this movie one by one, like every bit of it just took a harder and harder toll.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like I didn't like I was getting sad through the whole movie. The scene that broke me, and this is huge, major spoilers. Do not watch past this. Please see the movie first.
But yeah,
But like the scene that broke me and got me crying was the scene of Carrie like rowing across the water
mhm.
and he sees his
Mhm.
brothers and then like
And that
that alone was sad enough.
you don't want to preface that at all.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I apologize. Major spoilers. At this point in the movie, every all of the brothers have died except for uh Kevin, right? That's Zac
Kevin,
Efron's character. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Uh and after Carrie dies, there's a scene where he's like rowing across this pond and like he sees his other two brothers and like they're all hugs and everything and that alone was sad enough. But then
Mhm.
there's the added punch of their like their brother that died like ages ago, like when he was 5 years old. I think it was
that was
right. I think he was
yeah, that
5.
was that was the firstborn. So
Yeah,
um, only
Mhm.
Kevin and David ever got to meet him.
yeah. Like
I don't know
Yeah.
about David actually.
uh, Kevin Kevin would have. Yeah, we don't even know if David ever met Jack,
Yeah,
but still,
yeah. So yes,
that
still.
scene broke me. That was so. That was both insanely happy and horrendously sad at the same time.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I was like, oh, they get to meet each other, they get to see each other again, but God, is that sad?
Every single tragedy that happens because first David dies
hmm
and he's not even in the country. Like his dad just sits Kevin down and says, "Your brother died in his hotel room," and you're
hmm
just hit with that. And then Carrie crashes his motorcycle and he gets injured and he loses his leg. And
Mhm.
then Michael gets injured wrestling and goes in a coma during surgery. and he comes out with brain damage, and then he overdoses in a suicide, and then Carrie commits suicide, and it's just one horrible thing after another, and your heart just breaks over and over and over for this family.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's like so, and like the time frame for the movie is a little weird to try and like pin down. But like,
In the 80s.
yeah, it's the 80s, but like all three of those deaths happened in the span of probably less than a decade,
Yeah.
I'd say. Well, yeah, because it
Yeah.
would be because Kevin only had the one kid when Carrie died, right? Or did he have both boys? I think he had both kids
I
by
think he
that
had,
point.
yeah, I think he had both boys because they were watching Carrie on TV.
Right. So yeah, probably about the span of a decade, all of that happens.
And
That's
it's horrible.
wild.
Mhm.
It's, and then the fact of like, not moving away from the sadness part of this. Fuck their dad. Like, holy shit. He just keeps, like, he's more worried about getting the title than he is about his kids' well-being. He's just pushing them and pushing them and pushing them. And like,
Yeah.
and even Mike, like Mike had a promising music career. Like he had a gig and everything. Like like he seemed to be a good musician, you know? And like
Mhm.
the dad just like forces him to get in the ring.
Well, no, he gets into the ring after David dies and Carrie gets injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely like he was definitely classified as his least favorite for not wanting to, but
Mhm.
Like he said the whole list in order at the
yeah,
table.
Yeah.
he gave out the rankings of favorite to least favorite.
Yeah.
It's like dog.
Not a not a great guy.
I mean, I'm sure there are parents that think it, but dude, you're gonna just say it? Like, dang.
Yeah, one of the most tragic movies I've ever seen. Definitely.
Oh yeah, like I've cried in
Mhm.
movies before, but like this one, this one really hit. Like this hurt.
Well, and also you have to take into consideration that like most other sad movies are like it's fiction, it's not sad, but like these things
Yeah.
really happen to like a real family. My
The
uncle, I'll
last
have
Yeah.
to my uncle Merrick and I will have to have a conversation with him after he sees it because he hasn't seen it yet. But he grew up watching the Von Erichs on TV, like live. So he was
yeah,
actually around during and paying attention during the whole time frame. So we'll have to get his input on that and see
I
share his
Mhm.
things.
the last movie
Yeah.
based on true events that I saw that made me cry like this was Marley and Me. Like that was back in like middle school. So
He was just sad 'cause the dog died.
it was sad as hell.
What were you gonna say,
Yeah.
Merrick?
In my opinion, at least, this is the movie I've ever seen.
The saddest movie?
But I definitely liked it.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it
it
was
wasn't
very
a
well done.
it was
Yeah.
so beautifully shot.
I mean, A24 when they actually have a plot to their films, A24 can make really good things.
You
Mhm.
know, when they're not just making the entire movie a metaphor, it actually is a good movie.
Yeah. A24 either makes like one of the greatest movies of the year or complete metaphorical abstract nonsense. There's no in between.
A24 made Dream Scenario, right?
Yes, and Beau is Afraid. They also
they
made
really-
Talk to Me.
They did make. Did they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Remember the hand crunched and turned into a 2?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that was good. That was in my top 5 of last year.
Yeah, mine too.
It was good.
Um.
Anyway,
Also,
if no one, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I got one more thing. There was a guy sitting next to me in the theater, and I could hear some of the stuff he was saying because he was older and had like seen the stuff on TV, and he said the casting of them was really good. Like all
Mhm.
the actors look like the people who they're playing, so that's always good to see.
Yeah, we looked
It
it
is
up
good,
we looked it up in the car outside the theater, and we were like, "Dog, you almost couldn't tell the difference." Like, you could
they
throw them
did
up
pick
side by side.
a good bunch of guys to do that, and all of them absolutely nailed their roles. I don't think there was a single bad actor in this movie. Everyone
No.
was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
and to give mad props to Zac Efron. Like, I've always kind of been a fan of Zac Efron. Yeah, it was kind of like fun to make
That's
fun of
because
him
you
for
like High
being in.
School Musical.
Well, yeah, but that, like, people shat on him for so long because of that. Because because he was in High School Musical, they didn't take him seriously because he was in Disney stuff, and then he did like things like Neighbors and things like that. But like in the past year, past couple years, like with the greatest beer run ever, and now this, like, dude can play a serious role real well. Like, the
Mhm.
other scene in this movie that broke me was like one of the last ones where he's sitting on the on the lawn in front of his house, watching his two sons play football together, and like
Mhm.
he just starts crying, and like his kids notice it, and like that line where he's like, where the kids are like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "No, no, I used to be a brother." Like, watching his sons play with each other reminded him of how he used to play with his brothers, and like it just broke him. And like watching, like, you could feel the sorrow. Like, a lot of the times
Mhm.
you see actors like cry
Yeah.
and stuff, but like, dude tapped into something primal when he was crying for that. Like,
Yeah, it
like
felt very real.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, on that cheery note,
Yeah.
let's plug this into the rankings.
All right, Kel, you want to start with this one?
Sure. I was deliberating on this for a while, but I think starting the year out on a very high note, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
It was very good, very, very sad. I think it dragged a little bit in the beginning, just because it was mostly set up in the family and that there wasn't a whole lot going on. But everything after the wedding scene, it like kicked it into high gear and just did not stop with the roller coaster of emotions there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
Mo?
I'm also gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
The cat.
Any particular reason?
Um, I
And
don't know, it was
why?
just
Explain your answer.
oh boy, that was my least favorite part of school.
Know your work, Mo.
Show your work. Explain your answer. If so, why?
That it was just really good. I don't know how to
No, oh no,
That's
that's
fair.
yeah,
explain
that's good.
things very well, but
No,
That's
that's
true.
fair.
9 out of 10.
Me. Uh, I'm I'm giving this movie a straight up 10.
Wow.
Like, I normally
Right.
normally I'd give myself a little wiggle room, but like this is this is really good. This movie just had me. Like it
Yeah.
did. Like it was so good. Just every bit of this movie just hit so well. Like there were several parts of this movie that just resonated with me. And
Yeah, definitely.
it it honestly it honestly made me sad on top of being sad for them because I'm like, man, I wish I was that close with my brothers, you know? Yeah, no, this was a very good movie. Starting the year off strong. I mean, I started last year with a top with a 10 out of 10 movie. So
Yeah. Well, and
I mean,
this
my number one movie for last year we saw on our first movie day last year.
right. Well, and yeah, this is Ironclaw is probably something that's again going to make its way into our top 10. I can already
Mhm.
predict this year. And once again, it's one of those things that came out in December and we didn't get to see it till January.
Yeah,
So I just think that's because January, again, as I said at the beginning, is a very dry month for movie theaters. Merrick, that's probably why they're not giving you as much hours.
Right?
um, but
you
uh,
know,
but I think December is a very very big month for movies because A, you
yeah,
have Christmas, B, you have everyone off for Christmas break, um, and C, it's like everyone getting in their last submission for that year's awards before they have to
yeah,
push it off and it comes out and they have to wait a whole another year to get any award for it.
yeah.
So,
I am
I don't
so
know.
happy. I'm so happy we saw this movie in January and not December because it would have been a bitch to place this in my list.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it would have been such a bitch to have to place this.
dude. For me, this probably would have replaced Oppenheimer. To be honest.
That's fair.
All right. Now we will get Taylor in the call here, and we will move on to our final movie of the first episode, Night Swim. All right, Taylor, welcome back to the channel, to the podcast.
Thank you. So excited to be back.
Nice.
You're welcome.
All right, so Night Swim is described as forced into early retirement by a degenerative illness. A former baseball player, Ray Waller, moves into a new house with his wife and two children. He hopes that the backyard swimming pool will be fun for the kids and provide physical therapy for himself. However, a dark secret from the home's past soon unleashes a malevolent force that drags the family into the depths of inescapable terror. So basically, it's about a haunted swimming pool.
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when I first started, like when I saw the trailers for this, because you went into this like you saw
Oh
the
yeah,
teaser
yeah.
trailer where it was
So I saw the
just
teaser trailer where it was
yeah.
just the daughter swimming with her boyfriend, and like that was just it. There was like no information about this, so I was like, you know what? And I'll probably be doing this a lot more often this year, is just like a blind go where I purposely avoid all the trailers. I like Isaac even like he's like, all right, I'll like when the new trailer comes up, like I'll just let you know it so you can leave the theater, and then I'll let
Yeah.
you know when to come back in. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
because like I wasn't really interested in this. I was like, it kind of looked like super like it was somewhat interesting, but it looked like it was gonna be just really mid, in my opinion. And then the second trailer came out, and I got a lot more interested in it because uh because a casting choice of one of the characters in the movie like made a lot more sense to me. And I liked that they did it that way. But then but anyway, like you went in like almost as blind as you possibly could into this.
all I saw was
And
the teaser trailer, the first one
you were
they
like super
released.
excited
I
for
had
the teaser trailer.
Yeah, same with me. I only saw the teaser trailer, and nowadays, I mean,
oh,
the non-teaser trailers show so much of the movie that I just don't want to see
exactly.
them anymore. It
So
ruins it.
Isaac is the only one who saw the actual trailer and not just the teaser trailer.
Yes.
Because I only saw the teaser trailer too.
Yeah. So it was interesting because like I feel like I might join you guys at least definitely in horror movies. Like uh like in not watching the actual trailers. Just because like a lot of the good things about this movie were all in that second trailer. Like it
Yeah, I
was
went
all
back
Yeah,
and
those
watched it, and there was just way too much in there.
yeah,
when
like
you
all
go
the
into
good
oh, go ahead.
stuff
Sorry, go
about the
ahead.
movie, all the stuff that got me excited was only in the trailer. They didn't expand on like any of it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say this was
Um.
a bad movie, by the way. Like I actually thought this was a pretty decent Blumhouse horror movie.
Well, that's the thing. Is that's what Blumhouse is it's mainstream horror, so it's not going crazy. It's not really scary. It's just jump scares, which are more annoying than they are scary.
The really
Yeah.
annoying thing about Blumhouse movies nowadays as well is the drama and the plot. At least the human side of things is like super predictable in a lot of it.
Well, no
Like
one ever
the whole
accused Blumhouse of being a script writing genius.
true. See, here's my thing, and I like when it comes to horror movies, every once in a while, like I understand no one really wants to see it, but I like to see the bad guy win every once in a
Yeah,
while
same.
in a horror story.
That's literally every horror movie because last like the very last scene is just the monster coming back. Ah, it's still alive. One last scare and then credits.
See, I don't mean that. I mean they just straight up killed everyone and got away with it. Like I like
It's
that ending.
that's every slasher movie ever. I mean,
Sure, I guess.
except Scream because I mean it's a different guy every time, but whatever. But Jason, like literally, they never put that guy down. He's always comes back.
Fair. But anyway,
Um,
moving back to this movie.
moving on to the movie itself, if we could talk about that for a change.
Yeah. The
Um,
movie, I gotta say, with like how hyped I got for this, like after seeing the trailer, because like you said it multiple times, where it's like I went from not really being interested in it and almost making you use a Spirited for this movie to being willing to pay full price for it because of that trailer, because the
I
trailer looks so
still don't
cool.
understand why. Because I went back
I
and
just
watched the trailer, and I was like, wait, so what did you what?
I thought the movie was going, so I wasn't expecting this movie to be haunted swimming pool. I was expecting this movie to be monster in pool, not evil entity. Like I was
Monster in Pool would be way better than Haunted Swimming Pool.
That's exactly what I meant. That's why I got excited for it, because I'm like, oh, it was like monster and swimming pool, and moving into spoilers possibly ish. It's like, oh, it's infecting the dad and he's gonna become a like I was like, oh, that's gonna be really cool. And it's like, I'm down, and then it's like, oh no, it's just malevolent spirit in water. Great.
I was just gonna say quickly, if we're talking about what we expected, right? Is that what we're trying to get at? Okay. I mean, basically, I kind of expected the whole from the teaser trailer. What I got was a haunted swimming pool. I didn't know really about a monster from the teaser trailer. My brain just didn't go to that, and I was kind of excited to hear about the monster and its backstory, and like, spoiler if we haven't said it already, it because the pool is connected to like a freshwater lake that old ancient people did rituals on or whatever. But I feel like I didn't get enough of seeing the monster. I wanted to see it. I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to like see it commit the devious act. But, that's just me.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't know. From the teaser trailer is haunted pool, and I mean, why not watch it?
Fair enough.
So I wouldn't say that I was excited for this, or interested at all. The only thing I could say piqued my interest at all was the swimming pool aspect, just because outside of horror, I like swimming pools. I like swimming. I like the chlorine smell. The whole
Yum.
the whole thing. I love it. So
Swimming pools are awesome.
yeah. So I was like, oh, horror movie about a swimming pool. Like, there's like, you could do cool things with that. And then in the teaser trailer, there was a bit where they dive down and then they look up, and then like it's the pool itself is like way up high. It was warping the dimensions of the water after they went under. And I thought that was going to be a lot more than what it was. And it wasn't that.
Yeah, it was kind of weird the way they did that. Now, there were a couple of decent shots, only one of which I actually vividly remember was
Oh, is
the
that the one where they did the whole flipping thing? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, where
Oh,
they were
that was
trying where
actually
they
sick.
I actually really liked that shot, because they were
It's
like
because it was the
trying.
only good shot in the movie.
Well, yeah, it was really cool, because it was like they're trying to find the exit, and they're swimming and they're swimming and they're swimming. All of a sudden, the little girl or whatever like just drops the quarter, and then it like
Oh,
floats up, and you realize like, oh, like
I thought
it's
you were talking about in the beginning where they did the title card and they just
Oh,
flipped
that
like
was
the
cool too. I forgot about
water.
that.
oh, that was cool. But
Oh,
I like the shot with the quarter where they like
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
where
what
she
I was
let it
thinking
go
about.
and it floats up, and that like shows them that, oh, we're upside down, because like that's one of the reasons I don't like I don't I wouldn't ever want to go too far down into water, because like I would lose my bearing of what is up, what is down, like left, like all of that, like so fast.
Isaac, all you have to do is bring a quarter with you and drop it.
I was gonna say,
Fair.
like, I think the air in your lungs kind of would pull you towards the surface. I don't think that would be a problem at all. I think that's a situation that you invented in your head, Isaac.
I think you just have to turn your head in all different directions and find the light. But see, the movie had an effect on you, so that is something to say about the movie.
Just breathe out a
Yeah.
little bit and then follow the bubble up.
Real. This didn't. So it has come to my attention that all haunted house movies are the same, and most of them have the same, like, 10 beats of the movie. Like, new family moves in, something bad happens to the family pet, goes missing or dies or whatever.
Oh.
Everyone pretty much ignores
Yeah.
all the spooky stuff until, like, one super spooky thing happens that they can't ignore, and then they go track down the previous house owners, and then they give some vague, mysterious advice or information, and then one of the parents or family members gets possessed. Like a lot of haunted house movies follow the exact same plot lines and, like,
Yeah, you
story beats, and this was
Yeah.
no exception to that.
I was gonna say you basically just described the movie,
Well,
every single
that
plot
I
point.
You
described every
you just described,
haunted
like,
house movie.
True, true.
You
I
described,
I
like,
just
20 movies in
described
one right there.
Insidious. I just described Poltergeist. I just described
Conjuring.
Conjuring. Yes, I described even though I like it a lot, A Haunting in Connecticut. I think that one's probably one of the best haunted house movies, in my opinion.
Still
But
follows
it's
the
still like
formula.
that still follows the formula. They all do. And this didn't. The only thing that set this apart from any other haunted house movie is the pool, is the water.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true.
I will say, like, I will always say actually filming in water for your movie is cool no matter how you do it. Like, I always have mad respect for actors that are willing to do stuff like that, because there are a lot, like, even though you could have all the safety precautions in the world, it's still kind of dangerous to do that. To just film underwater, because it takes a long time to do that.
Mhm.
So it's kind of cool. But
Anyone else got anything to say
I
about
really don't
Night
have a whole lot to
Swim?
say about this movie, unfortunately. Like, I wish I really wish I did have more. Like, the only thing that I was saying earlier about, like, good casting was, like, I liked that the guy who was playing the dad, because he was U.S. agent in the in the MCU, and, like, I liked that vibe that he was gonna bring to the whole, like oh, he's being, like, he's changing kind of thing. Like, again, this was me thinking, like, he's turning into a monster, not he's being possessed by the thing in the pool. Because that's what I thought it was. I thought he was, like, turning into some sort of weird lake monster thing.
Ah, and that was
So,
not the case.
yeah, no, like, that made me sad. That made me sad. But that was one
Well,
thing. He did still do that job well. Like, he still made that scene creepy. Like, I liked it. I thought he did a
um,
very good job.
I would in that case, I would recommend the movie Overlord. He was in that movie. It was very gritty and serious, and
Ooh, that does sound
some
cool.
actual, like actually scary things in that movie,
Cool.
and
Oh,
lots
that
of
reminded me of something I want to say, but keep going.
inhuman, like, monsters. So
Hmm.
if you
All
were
right,
looking
Taylor.
for that kind of stuff from him in this movie, you'd probably get more of that kind of stuff in Overlord.
Sick. All right.
Taylor?
Oh, okay. Basically what I was gonna say is I didn't really find this to be much of a horror movie. Like, if you're thinking about thriller versus horror, I would not categorize this as horror because and this is my opinion, but I feel like most of the feelings of fear came from when's the next jump scare, not really fear of the situation, the characters. I jumped,
Well,
but because it was a jump scare and we were in the theater and it was loud AF, and I jumped because I was surprised, but not because I was scared. And they relied heavily on jump scares.
Taylor, welcome
That's
to
Blumhouse.
Blumhouse movies.
Ah.
There are a couple times that they do it very effectively.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I mean, I jumped, obviously.
Yeah, a while ago.
I wasn't like, I didn't go out of that movie being like, "Whoa, I'm shaken. I'm actually not gonna go
I
into
will never
a
look at
pool."
a swimming pool again.
Right, right.
Yeah,
You know,
other
in terms
stuff I
of
had about
Blumhouse
this was
horror
just
movies,
kind
it was
of
alright.
in terms of Blumhouse movies. Ugh, it's par for the course.
Yeah, I mean,
This
it's
is
no
what
lights
most
out.
Blumhouse movies are now.
Yeah. There's no lights out because that's one of my favorite Blumhouse. It's one of my more favorite Blumhouse horror movies because I like those. But like, anyway, Kellen, go ahead.
Do you want to know why Lights Out was so good?
Why?
Because it wasn't Blumhouse that made it.
Oh, it wasn't?
No,
That movie has all the earmarks of a Blumhouse horror movie, and it's not a Blumhouse horror movie.
no, it's New Line Cinema.
Oh, well, dang. All right. Anyway, do we want to move on to the rankings?
Heading over to the rankings, sure.
I don't mind kicking us off. Coming down off of Iron Claw here. This movie was I'm gonna have to give it a 5. You know, like this movie was pretty mid in my opinion. Like it wasn't horrible, it wasn't great, but it was just kind of middle of the road there. So I don't really have a whole lot for it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that this again, like very, very Blumhouse. It's jump scare heavy, plot thin. Again, cookie cutter from every other haunted house movie, except this time it's a pool, and I don't know. That they could have done super cool stuff with that. That would have been interesting. I like that aspect, but they didn't do it. Like I said as we saw the trailer, I said the only way that movie could be good is if it was like loosely based off of the Tale of the Dead Man's Float from Are You Afraid of the Dark? So I'm just gonna have to give this like a 4. Because ordinarily I would give it a 3. But like I think that aspect of the swimming pool personally brought me up like 1 point. Like from a movie itself, it's like a 3. But my personal enjoyment, it got like a bonus point just because it was like a swimming pool, and there was some interesting aspects about that at least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5. Kind of middle of the road. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like super great. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'd give it, I want to say 5 or 5.5. Just because I really did like the lore of the monster, I just didn't feel like I got enough of it. But it wasn't like a bad movie. I'm not mad that I sat through it and took time to watch it.
Alright. Well, Merrick and Taylor, thank you so much for joining us, not only for Night Swim, Merrick, for Beekeeper and Ironclaw as well, but for joining us here on the podcast as well. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you guys.
All right, Mr. Isaac,
Yes.
that should round us off for the podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a look next time. Next time we'll be starting beginning of February. We'll be
somewhere
looking
around
at
there.
Argyle.
Mm-hmm.
I will be using one of my Spiriteds, provided that it's still in theaters. We will go to see ISS.
Yep.
And probably not something we're gonna do a full-on review of, but we are going to go see Godzilla -1 minus color, like an old school black and white version of Godzilla -1. So we'll probably mention our brief thoughts about that, whether the black and white helped or didn't help the movie. But other than that,
Yeah.
it's been kind of quiet on the movie front. So if there's anything
It
else
is
that pops up in
January,
theaters,
February area, so it's all like it's
yeah,
the slow part of the year.
yeah. So if they announce something that's also in theaters or just something pops up on our radar, but between now and then, we'll throw that in the podcast as well. But other than that, yep. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts where all these movies will be uploaded, as well as ones that we have seen out of theaters from home at Cinema
Oh.
Kellan and Regular Isaac.
There you go.
Please subscribe because it means a lot to us and it keeps these videos coming. And until next time,
Yeah.
guys, that's a wrap. Roll credits.